Zain Asher is here with us again. Break
And
this
I'm
down
back.
for us. And she's back. Break this down for us. What does this mean? And I know Donald Trump has been complaining about Powell, partly because worrying about inflation going up. What's happened?
So you look at the month-over-month number, it is exactly in line with expectations as you laid out, 0.3%. I think what's interesting about this is that, yes, it is technically a high compared to where we've been since January, but it is only a slight increase. I mean, it's a very small amount just in terms of price rises. The big question is, why aren't we seeing these sort of dramatic effects from these tariffs that a lot of people had been anticipating? Jerome Powell has said a number of times that the June CPI data, June inflation, the summer readings for inflation would be critical this time around because that would really help guide the FOMC in terms of what the right monetary policy was going forward. When you have this sort of lukewarm data, the big question is, what are they going to do with these sorts of numbers? I'm interested in sort of why. Why aren't we seeing the effect just yet? Part of the reason could be front-loading, this idea that when people knew that the Liberation Day was coming, that tariffs are going to come into effect April 2nd, a lot of people bought their products, the products that they would need, the appliances they would need for the summer earlier in the year. Another thing is that we've seen, and I was saying this to John just a few minutes ago, we've seen so many stops. I mean, Sarah, it is hard for me to keep track, okay?
Yeah.
We've seen
stops and starts.
So many stops and starts, and some of the worst tariffs that were going to come into effect, perhaps they did come into effect only temporarily, and then they were paused. Also, it is clear that businesses might just think, listen, because of the sort of taco trade effect, this idea that Trump always chickens out and the label that he's gotten from that, some businesses might just say, look, you know, let's absorb the costs temporarily until we see where we are when it comes to tariffs. The markets today are going to be interested in what does this mean for the Fed cutting interest rates. That September rate cut everyone's been talking about, there's probably about a 50% chance of some kind of rate cut we're going to see in September. I'm not entirely sure with just one data point, and it's only a slight increase, I'm not entirely sure how the Fed is going to interpret it. They're going to want more data, and we know that there's an August 1st deadline, so more tariffs are coming.
That's right, and people are wondering whether that's going to happen or not, so there is a lot of I guess uncertainty. Zain Asher,
that is
as
the word
usual.
of the year.
Uncertainty. Zain Asher, really thank you. Appreciate it. John.